Welcome. In front of me is the brand new attempt from Apple at a flagship device. So this is the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I can't wait till it's gonna be something like iPhone 15 Pro Max Plus Extra or some stupid shit that they're gonna come up with. Their naming scheme is getting a little bit out of hand, and also their pricing are already getting out of hand. Or not getting, they're already out of hand. But anyway, let's just pop it open and get to see what we get here. Now, to be honest, I know what exactly we get here. You get a phone, which isn't worth the price, at least in my opinion. Anyway, so there's our phone, there is our charging cable, Type-C to Type Lightning port. Because for a $1,100 you still get the shitty lightning port, but luckily Apple doesn't have much to say about this anymore, so iPhone 15, I believe 15, already should be coming with USB-C, because after stupid crap cables that keep on breaking, you don't get to sell those at a egregiously overpriced at a hike up there for no reason, just because it's Apple. So eat that into the garbage once Apple uses Type-C. Alright, but with that being said, they're probably gonna hike up the price of iPhones even harder, so good luck. Anyway, let's just peel that off, turn it on. Now, as you can probably see this, or will see, this is the one with the what they're called dynamic island. Whoop-de-doo. It's basically, they're basically made a hindrance into a feature, which I guess only Apple can just take something that no one wants and call it a feature and make Apple users think that it's the next best thing. Why do you people even bother with this? Now, objectively, the execution in terms of the software for this is pretty good. I can't really deny that here. But hear me out. This might be very controversial. Imagine just having full display, no cutout whatsoever, and have it accessible only when you actually can utilize it. Just pop out of nowhere. Boom, it's there when you need it, and it's gone when you don't. Kind of, for instance, like, let's see. Like this. Would you look at that? You have an under-display camera, which is there, but it's not very visible. Now, to be honest, Fold is probably the stupidest example for this, but for instance, ZTE did execute the under-display camera significantly better. It's there when you need it. It's not when you don't. The photos might not be the best thing that will come out of it, but at least you get to get rid of this stupid trash here. And I'm not gonna give praise for doing a piss-poor job at adapting to new technology and then just trying to figure out a way around it to sell it to you so you think it's great. Objectively, software here is good for it. But imagine any other phone with this massive hole-punched camera without a software behind it, and would you like it? I can most certainly tell you, majority of people that I know will say F no. So again, here, if they would have removed that, make a full display with no obstructions, and add still the software that can utilize some kind of this dynamic island for certain things, but only when you need it, or you toggle it on somehow. Fantastic, not this. Now, moving to the actual specs right here, we're looking at 6.7 inch display, 1290 by 2796 pixels, so pretty dense display right here. It's a LTPO Super Retina XDR OLED. Jesus, can you chill the F out with these names? It's a OLED display with 120 Hz refresh rate at a higher resolution, because it's Retina, if I'm correct. They're considering Retina display as anything that is indistinguishable in terms of display pixel density, so you can't really see the pixels. Super Retina, I guess, more dense for no reason. I mean, it's not apparently Retina is supposed to already be indistinguishable, so not sure. I guess they have to kind of mark it up somehow. They got to milk you for those $1,100. So there we go. 120 Hz, HDR10, not even 10 plus, Dolby Vision, and 1000 typical brightness. It does peak at stupid 2000 peak brightness. Now this brightness is, I don't believe, anything that can be sustained for an extended period of time. So this is something that will like ramp up to 2000 nits and then stay there for like a minute or two, and then come back down to something more reasonable, which will only happen usually at like outside in direct sunlight. You will see your phone just massively increase the brightness. So this is where this would shine, literally. Now we're looking at 88.3% screen to body ratio and 460 pixels per inch. Pretty dense display right here. Pixels per inch. Now, in terms of internals, we have a Apple Bionic A16 with 6 gigs of RAM, so probably what you would already expect from a 14th generation of this device. And we do have a couple different storage versions. At the very lowest one, we have 128 gigs, then 256, 512, and 1 terabyte for some reason, all running NVMe storage, so it's blazing fast. Now, if we flip it over, we have triple camera setup at the back, 48 megapixel wide sensor, 12 megapixel telephoto, and 12 megapixel ultra wide. Now, and the time of flight 3D depth LiDAR sensor. So this is just sensor that is used to define how far an object is. It's also pretty nice. Actually, this is pretty cool sensor. I do actually have to say that I like the inclusion of this. It allows you to do like 3D scans of objects and, for instance, transfer them into softwares that will utilize the actual like 3D depth map of it. It's pretty interesting sensor, to be honest. Probably not used by many people very often as a alone sensor of like for the LiDAR technology, but cool nonetheless. Now at the front, we have a single 12 megapixel wide sensor, and we also have the depth biometric sensors for the face scan, because why would you get, I don't know, a fingerprint scanner or under display one when you can just get a Face ID and have this horrendous notch, or well, sorry, not notch, hole punch now, or I guess, yeah, it's probably still called hole punch camera, whatever you want to call it. It's still here, it's still hideous, and it is a little bit of an upgrade to what it was previously like, but I'm not gonna bullshit you, I still hate it. I still think this device would look and probably sell significantly better if they decided to completely ditch this and not try to feed you a spoonful of bullshit that it's amazing, it's the next best thing. It might work great, but it would work better without it. Now, last thing to say, it would be the battery. So here we have, for this kind of size of device, relatively small battery at 4323 milliamps. And in terms of chargings, we do have wireless charging, the MagSafe at 15 watts, Qi wireless charging at 7.5, and we have a well, no wattage for wired charging, but we do have advertised 50% in 30 minutes. So it's pretty good. If I would have to guess, it looks like something about 25 watts about would get you like that. So not necessarily the fastest charging, obviously, considering some phones can charge to in that 30 minutes fully, while iPhones, if I remember correctly, do fall off after that half an hour. So the battery will get a little bit warmer and the phone will throttle down the charging speed just so it won't damage the battery. But still, it's not bad. I do have to say that. Now, like I mentioned before, this device comes at $1,100 at the very base of it, the lowest storage capacity, and you don't have expandable storage right here. So most of you will probably have to opt for the 256 just because it's a better alternative. Just you will have actually enough storage for like photos, videos, and applications. 128 might not be that for a lot of people, especially if you tend to record at like 4K. At 4K, you will tend to just completely fill up that storage pretty quickly. So 256 for anybody that is planning to record at 4K, that's your probably bare minimum. And that will be obviously more expensive, so keep that in mind. So with that being said, I honestly, just look at this. It's a same phone that was last year, just they decided to drop the notch, because probably if they would have still stick with the notch, people would just completely laugh at Apple at this point. The part of innovation is kind of gone, and I just cannot help myself but maniacally laugh when I hear Apple's presentations when they're saying revolutionary, first of its kind. Yeah, first of its kind for Apple, but not anybody else. But to be also fair, if you ever remember the amazing, those were just such a perils, commercials from Samsung. So you had Samsung just dumpstering Apple for a bunch of things like the notch, the swipe keyboards, and all kinds of stuff. But if you look at it now, you will probably realize that Apple hasn't changed much, while Samsung decided to follow Apple in this idea. So there are commercials that were, for instance, dumpstering Apple for not having a headphone jack. Yeah, I don't see a headphone jack on an $1,800 device. Can you show me one? Where is it? So yeah, to be fair, Apple hasn't done any innovation, but Samsung decided to devolve, just evolve backwards. So yeah, it's not like I'm just hating on one company. I'm hating on both of them. They're the biggest tech giants, and they're scamming all the users in the biggest way at this point. So I honestly, after doing this for already several years, I'm just a little bit sick of it, to be completely honest. It's the same thing, just reheated. It feels like, yesterday's meal, just reheated. And this phone is just that. I cannot be excited about iPhones anymore, or Samsungs. Nothing has changed significantly in them. So anyway, with that being said, if you found this video helpful, maybe you do agree with me on the Apple. Maybe you don't. If you don't, maybe, I don't know, probably you will voice your opinions in the descriptions. But anyway, thanks for watching, and guess see you in the next one.